2.25 billion cups. That's how much coffee the world drinks every single day.
And every single one of those cups began its journey here, as a tiny red cherry on a mountainside.
This is how coffee is made. A 4-year journey from seed to your morning cup.
Our story begins in the highlands of Ethiopia, the birthplace of coffee itself.
Inside every coffee cherry are 2 seeds, what we call coffee beans.
Selected seeds are planted in nurseries, where they'll spend their first year of life.
It takes about 2 months for a coffee seed to germinate.
These first leaves are just the beginning of a very long journey.
For 6 to 12 months, the seedlings grow strong in the protected nursery environment. When they're strong enough, it's time to move to the mountainside.
Coffee thrives at altitude, between 3,000 and 6,000 feet above sea level.
The spacing is crucial. Each tree needs room to spread its branches.
Into the volcanic soil they go, some of the most fertile earth on the planet.
Mulch protects the young roots and retains precious moisture.
Shade cloth protects the young plants from intense tropical sun.
Precise irrigation gives each plant exactly what it needs. No more, no less.
Coffee is a patient crop. It takes 3 to 4 years before a tree produces its first harvest.
Throughout these years, the trees are carefully nurtured with organic nutrients.
Year by year, the trees grow stronger, their root systems reaching deep into the volcanic soil.
Strategic pruning shapes the trees for maximum cherry production.
These glossy leaves are the tree's solar panels, converting sunlight into energy for the cherries to come.
Finally, after years of patient waiting, the trees are ready for their most magical moment. And then, almost overnight, the mountains turn white.
Coffee flowers are breathtaking, pure white, with a fragrance like jasmine.
Each flower will become 1 coffee cherry pencil, containing 2 precious beans.
Bees do most of the work, but drones ensure every flower gets pollinated.
Within days, the flowers fall away, revealing tiny green cherries in their place.
For the next 6 to 9 months, these cherries will grow and ripen.
The cherries grow heavy, bending the branches toward the ground.
As harvest approaches, the color transformation begins.
Coffee cherries don't ripen all at once, Tarix. You'll find green, yellow, and red on the same branch.
That perfect, bright red color of pulse, that's what the harvesters are looking for.
When the mountains blush red, it's time for the harvest to begin. Harvest begins at dawn, when the mountain air is still cool. On larger plantations, mechanical harvesters can process thousands of trees per day.
Vibration technology shakes loose only the ripest cherries, the red ones.
A rainfall of red, each cherry containing 2 future cups of coffee.
The cherries are collected instantly, keeping them fresh.
Optical sensors separate the ripe from unripe right on the machine.
Only the perfectly ripe cherries continue forward.
The green ones, they'll ripen later for a second harvest pass.
Now you pick more.
A single tree can yield 10 to 15 pounds of cherries, but that makes only 1 to 2 pounds of roasted coffee. Across the plantation, the harvest continues from dawn to dusk. Speed is essential, people. The cherries must reach processing within hours.
Down the mountain they go, racing against time.
At the wet mill, the transformation from fruit to bean begins. Thousands of pounds of cherries pour in every hour during peak harvest.
Water channels carry the cherries forward grain end and reveal their quality.
Good cherries sink. Defective ones float and are removed.
Clean and sorted, the cherries are ready for their first transformation.
The pulping machine removes the fruit flesh from the bean.
The skin comes away, but the beans are still covered in sticky mucilage. Into the fermentation tanks they go, where the real magic happens.
The fruit pulp isn't wasted. It becomes cascara tea or compost.
For 12 to 72 hours, natural fermentation breaks down the mucilage. Beneficial bacteria work around the clock, developing complex flavors in the beans.
Temperature is carefully monitored. Too hot, and the beans are ruined. When fermentation is complete, the mucilage washes away easily.
Multiple washing cycles remove every trace of fruit.
What emerges are parchment-covered beans, a fountain, clean and ready for drying.
One final rinse ensures absolute cleanliness.
These wet beans contain about 55% moisture. They need to reach 11%.
Under the tropical sun, the drying process begins. Spread thin on raised beds, the beans will dry for 1 to 2 weeks. Regular turning ensures every bean dries evenly. As moisture escapes, the beans transform from dark wet to pale dry. Some facilities dry millions of pounds of coffee every season.
Moisture meters confirm when the beans have reached the perfect 11%.
Properly dried coffee can be stored for months without losing quality. At the dry mill, the parchment layer finally comes off.
The hulling machine removes the papery parchment skin.
Friction strips away the outer layer, revealing the green bean inside.
Green coffee, this is what gets shipped around the world.
The parchment chaff is blown away by air jets.
Size grading separates the beans. Larger beans often command higher prices.
Density tables separate the heavy, quality beans from lighter, defective ones. Optical sorters inspect thousands of beans per second, detecting the tiniest defects.
One defective bean can ruin an entire cup. Quality control is absolute.
What remains is the finest green coffee, ready for export. Packed into 60-kilogram jute bags, Demerons, the global standard for coffee shipping. Each bag is sealed and marked with origin, grade, and lot number. In warehouses around the world, green coffee awaits its final transformation.
From tropical mountains to roasteries worldwide, bakery, the beans begin their global journey. At the roastery, green coffee transforms into the brown beans you know. Green beans arrive from around the world, each origin with unique flavor potential.
Into the roaster they go, still green, still silent, still without aroma.
The drum roaster heats to 400 degrees, a crusade, a carefully controlled inferno. Inside the drum, the beans tumble constantly, ensuring even heat exposure. As temperature rises, chemical reactions begin transforming the beans. First, they turn yellow as moisture escapes. Then golden brown as sugars caramelize and flavors develop. At first crack, the beans physically pop sourly, releasing built-up steam.
This is where the roastmaster's skill matters most. See, timing is everything.
Sample after sample confirms the roast is progressing perfectly.
At precisely the right moment, the roast is complete. The beans pour out in a glorious cascade, the sade, transformed by fire.
Rapid cooling stops the roast instantly, preventing overdevelopment.
That aroma, it's the smell of over 800 aromatic compounds.
Within minutes, the beans cool to room temperature.
These beans need a day or two to gas before packaging.
One final quality check removes any beans that didn't roast perfectly. Some beans are ground for immediate convenience.
From coarse French press to fine espresso, different grinds for different brews.
But whole beans stay freshest longest, keeping their flavor locked inside. Special one-way valves let CO2 escape while keeping oxygen out. Nitrogen flushing replaces oxygen, preserving freshness for months.
Sealed tight, the beans are protected until you break the seal.
Bags of all sizes head to shelves around the world. From mountain farms in Ethiopia to roasteries worldwide, to your local store.
From cherry to cup, a 4-year journey, 70 beans, and countless hands, all for that perfect morning.